Very good evening, viewers. You're watching Free Press Journal live on YouTube. I'm Afrida Ali. There's been a lot of action over the past few days in Karnataka. The tussle is between the Chief Minister, Siddaramiah, and his deputy, the Deputy Chief Minister of the state, DK Shivkumar. Now it appears things are coming to a point of truce. There was a breakfast meeting on the 28th, I beg your pardon, on Saturday. And after that, it seems that matters have now settled. But have they really? How do we understand this truce? Is it like a temporary, fragile pact that we are looking at? Is there more to it than what meets the eye? To talk about all this, I have with me political commentator, senior journalist Madhavan Narayanan. Thank you so much, Madhavan, for joining us. Good evening.
Pleasure, Afrida.
I want to begin our conversation by playing what Mr. DK Shivkumar said earlier today, because that will just set us on the track. Let's listen in.
Of course, I have to go there. I have to discuss with CM. I want to have an all-party meeting in Delhi on various issues. So I'll discuss with CM. If doesn't, I think I'll have to go and brief them. I have to meet the minister. I don't know. I have to just take out some time.
What is the menu for tomorrow's breakfast, sir?
Tomorrow, breakfast.
Okay, I somehow managed to clip it over there. But, what do you make of this, Madhavanji? The fact is that there was already a breakfast meeting. And was it just optics? And is this just reciprocity? Because now Mr. DK Shivkumar feels obliged to return the favor, or there is more to all of this that we are watching from the sidelines?
Well, one has to do a lot of interpretation, Frida. Let me first, it's a complicated scenario, entitles me to a sip of filter coffee.
Sure. Your flame is frozen, though. I hope that works out quickly. Huh?
Well, I hope you can hear me because I see
Yeah, I
myself
can. I
frozen.
can.
The
You do?
freezing
Okay.
is,
So what I'll do is I'll let you rejoin me. I am in frame right now. I will tell our viewers what we are going to talk about in the meanwhile. If you can
yeah, I'll
just
come back to you.
refresh, yeah, you can refresh and come back. So what is happening over there in Karnataka has tremendous significance because this is an important state for the Congress party. We are looking at a state, and I'm putting out the Free Press Journal article as well, the editorial rather, which is calling it a temporary truce. Now, Karnataka, as this piece also says, is among the three states where the Congress is still in power, which is a far cry from its pan India dominance of earlier times. And it is important that the party retain this footprint. That is where matters are for the Congress, in the sense that that is where stakes are high for the Congress party. Madhavanji, are you back with us? Yeah.
I hope I am, and I hope I'm
Yes,
not
yes.
frozen like the state of Congress
No, no, no.
politics in Karnataka right now.
Oh, that's a good one.
Hmm.
Yeah, please continue. Hmm.
Yeah, actually, I heard you say this. There are lots of questions hanging in the air, but I think we'll have to, what we can do is to look beyond the obvious. And I trust and hope my experience, both as a journalist who has covered Karnataka politics in Karnataka during my years there, and my daily experience with Congress or national politics will come in handy because everybody is doing some interpreting. But
Mhm.
politics is a game of optics, and that's precisely why we have to interpret both the optics and what the optics may well hide. And this is where I
Mhm.
think we can add some value with some intelligent interpretations of what's going on.
Mhm.
First up is, as I told another channel the other day, this is not
Mhm.
essentially between DK Shivkumar and Siddaramaiah as it widely made out to be. They are just
Mhm.
symbols of two significant camps in the Karnataka's social setup, which determines the
Mhm.
political fortunes of the Congress party or for whoever. The
Mhm.
BJP has already bet its farm, as it were, on the Lingayat community. There is this old joke in Karnataka, which is no longer completely valid, but there are
Mhm.
two essential political parties in Karnataka, which is one the Lingayats and the other Vokaligas. Vokaligas are dominant in the south, Lingayats are more towards the north. Um,
Mhm. Mhm.
Vocaligas are a primarily farming community, which is increasingly upward mobile in terms of education or aspirations. And then you have the Lingayats, also fairly educated, rational community, one of the earliest heterodoxical Hindu sects who refuse to be called Hindu. There's a lot of
Mhm.
interesting history out there. But let's focus on these two
Mhm.
gentlemen. What they are trying
Mhm.
to do over the breakfast diplomacy, if I might call it that,
Mhm.
borrowing
Yeah.
a phrase from foreign policy, is that they are trying to convey an image of unity and solidarity on the one hand. On the other
Mhm.
hand, they cannot afford to be completely friendly with each other. This is where I think I'm going to throw a googly at you, which is
Okay.
that it's not just these two gentlemen. No, we don't have that old-fashioned loyalties anymore.
Mhm.
It's not in sociology we call it kinship, or feudal loyalties are not there. It is essentially about sharing the spoils of power and the aspirations in a modern society on everything from education and the so-called freebies to uh, seats of power, ministerships or chairmanships of organizations, local MLA based patronage dispensation and all
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go that extra mile. Please bear with me, because
Yeah.
we will discuss it in terms of the various equations that is often missed in television channels in this banter and the tutu meme,
Mhm.
as we call it.
Mhm.
We have to
Mhm.
understand there is BJP, there is Congress High Command, and the two respective constituencies that the Chief Minister, Mr. Siddaramaiah, and Mr. D.K. Shivakumar represent. See,
Mhm.
it's sort of well known that D.K. Shivkumar is a Vocaliga leader. People
Mhm.
dispute that fact because he may be a Vocaliga, but the former Prime Minister Devegowda is considered the rural Vocaliga leader with his son Kumar Swamy, and they say that this is not the uh, real Vocaliga leader. But that said, Shivakumar is a wealthy man, excellent organizer. He's the closest that Congress gets to an Amit Shah in terms of talent
Mhm.
and ability to
Mhm.
swing things. And
Mhm.
he showed his organizational prowess was very important in making Siddaramaiah the chief minister. So the two of them are also very rational people who know how to keep the scores. So they are not driven to impulsive behavior. Um, at the same time, uh, it's important for Shivakumar to project himself as an important leader within the organization and to his followers within the party. So the untold equations in this whole game are how are the respective followers of Siddaramaiah, the loyalists you want to call them, and DK Shivakumar will behave. Power attracts power. This is the basic rule of politics. So if you are seen to be powerful or going to be more powerful than you are before, or holding on to the power
Mhm.
you are, to that extent you
Yeah.
convey a message to your own flock that look, there are some goodies up for you, because optics and perceptions and risk management in making moves are a part of any politics. It's even in corporates, CEOs have their favorites. So this is one. So both of them, in my opinion, are trying to, on the one hand, do a balancing act to keep their followers happy, saying that look, we are not going to be fighting so much that you're going to lose what you have already. So
Mhm.
the
Let
next
me
state
just come in
election.
there. When you said, they don't want to lose what you have already, a bird in hand is worth two in the bush. So, in this scenario that we are seeing today, Madhavanji, is actually not today's doing. This was a tussle, this was a dilemma that the Congress was faced with 2.5 years ago when they were at a juncture to choose a leader after the Congress's win in Karnataka. It was a toss up between these two individuals. After much discussion, debate, whatever consensus could be arrived was this, that 2.5 years to each one of you. Now, in a way, if you ask me, it is only fair that Mr. DK Shivkumar asks for his pound of flesh, because how does it look? How does it reflect on his image to his own followers that you were promised this and therefore we decided to take a back seat? Whereas many thought at that time he is the more appropriate candidate. And now, when the time comes, even what is due to you,
Yeah.
you are not being given.
Listen,
How does that work?
now let me shift your focus to Mumbai and BJP so that
Hmm.
we know exactly what's going on. Remember what happened? Uddhav Thackeray broke away from the BJP, and he said he was promised the chief ministership, but
Hmm.
there was BJP denied it. So the big question
Hmm.
is there a written contract or an agreement in the presence of high command that
Hmm.
Shivakumar would have been chief minister? To the best of my knowledge and belief, there is nothing written in stone, not even at the high command level in terms of verbal agreement, to the best of my knowledge and belief. So this is
Okay, you are
essentially
saying
a
this is important. You are saying there was no such understanding of 2.5 years
no, no,
from the state
I don't even
to the
I don't even
federal
like
government?
the word understanding, because understanding is not a legal word. Understanding could be, now this is the interesting thing. Like any contract, it requires a witness, right? So if there was an
Hmm.
understanding between Shivakumar and Siddaramaiah, was did
Hmm.
it amount to an agreement? Question number one. If
Hmm.
there was an agreement, was there a witness? Was it
Hmm.
someone significant within the Congress party? All these
Hmm.
are answers are blowing in the wind or the Bangalore breeze, as it were. So I would like to say that let us not simply, even Shivakumar's camp or Shivakumar himself, even he throws hints at this, but there are
Hmm.
nudges and whispers. No one's really saying, "Hey, this really happened." But I'm sure the high command level, they know what's going on. Now
Hmm.
comes the twist. Within, I can only stick my neck out and say the budget is due in February. So,
Yeah.
and Siddaramaiah might well blink after that. That's
Hmm.
one way of looking at it. Saying, but no one does anything voluntarily in this. They always
Hmm.
like to shoot from somebody else's shoulder. Sometimes it's the followers' shoulder saying, look, they are unhappy, they are very restless because you had promised. That's what Shivakumar will say.
Hmm.
Whereas Siddaramaiah will say, if you want to take, his approach would be, look, he represents the Kuruba community, and he has
Hmm.
created a very successful social coalition called Ahinda, which is
Yeah.
the backward minorities and Dalits. So it's
Yeah.
and remember that in Congress, Karnataka is the showpiece state for Congress, and
Yeah.
Siddaramaiah is the big, to borrow that memorable phrase from Asterix comics.
Hmm.
He's the magic potion
Mascot in a.
for
Okay.
uh, Congress. So he knows his
Hmm.
power and he will not relinquish. So when they make this move, if at all, I don't
Hmm.
rule it out, it will be seen as a grand sacrifice for the interest of the party. And now
Hmm.
let's look at two more things. One is that essentially
Yeah.
this is about the spoils of power. This is not about just who sits in the chief minister's chair.
But you are
It's about
saying,
which
from what I
ministry,
gather,
what
you are
duty.
saying it is a toss up between the caste community dynamics, Ahinda on one side, like you said, Siddaramaiah is the showpiece, the mascot for the Congress party to represent those groups, which has resonance beyond Karnataka. And DK Shivkumar is the firefighter, he is a Voka Liga leader. So, is it for the Congress party a toss up between this, not just Siddaramaiah and DKS, but
It's not even
actually
a.
how
I
to
wouldn't
choose one
I
over
wouldn't
the
use
other
the I
politically?
wouldn't use the analogy of the toss up. I would use the analogy from stock market. It's portfolio management. So
Hmm.
just as ministerial portfolios are affected, there are social portfolios, and
Yeah.
uh, for Congress to stay in power in Karnataka, you
Hmm.
need that consensus between the Vokaligas and the Ahindas. Simple as that. Which means
Hmm.
Shivakumar and,
Hmm.
but they
Siddaramaiah. Hmm.
respectively are not really, just as a company needs to be accounted to its shareholders and customers alike, they have to be uh, uh, accountable and convincing to the followers or the party workers and voters alike. So what they do, and I like to mockingly say, this is like diabetes. This is a condition. You can't be cured. It has to be managed carefully. It's a
Hmm.
power
Hmm.
flow that has to be managed. So
Hmm.
both
Hmm.
will have their posturings to show that, look, we are strong and we are fighters and we are fighting for you. And then they have
Hmm.
breakfast because they don't want fence sitters or restless people to defect to the BJP, and the BJP will always be trying to do that. They are not going to sit
Yeah. In
quiet in
fact,
any state.
yeah. Let's
So,
then listen into what the BJP is saying, Mr. Madhavan. I'll come back to you on the
yeah,
breakfast meet tomorrow. I'm just going to play this out. Hope this plays out quickly. What happened here? It's Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar's frozen just like you were a while ago. Okay, here's another minister
have come
of the
together. They had a
Congress
breakfast
party.
and
Let's
they have
listen.
clarified all the things which media wanted to know. So we have to now really, media should understand. They should not try to more ask such questions and speculate the matter. And since CM and DCM have come together and they have told whatever High Command decides or whenever High Command is calling them to Delhi, they both will go and take a future action or decision according to the High Command.
Sir, BJP MLC and Ravikumar said DK Shivkumar is purchasing Congress MLA regarding approval to CM kursis.
I don't know who is purchasing what, God knows. So since the clarification is already made by Honorable CM himself, yesterday in fact. So asking the same questions again. I'm not going to speak anything about any such things because if Mr. Ravikumar, is a senior man in BJP and if he has got any such, informations, he can definitely give information to the government itself. If not, they have got their own agencies where he can give such information. So I don't want to comment anything much on it.
Let's try and see if we can play out Mr. Chandrasekhar's soundbite as well, because he had something interesting to say. Let me see if that plays out. Okay, I'll ask my producer to get that. Meanwhile, so clearly there seems to be a semblance of calm now, saying, okay, now we are back together and there is no conflict. Is this like just a cosmetically done sort of patch up? But what is on the cards tomorrow then? Is this simply a reciprocal obligatory thing for DK Shivkumar to do?
Let me take an intelligent guess, Afrida. The first breakfast meeting was a message to the High Command to say, for the High Command rather than to the High Command, saying that, look, the optics, the High Command must have sounded out to them that their fights in the public with all sorts of followers saying things was not good for the party's future. So they had the first breakfast essentially to send a message on behalf of the High Command that we really believe in the High Command and we are together. Don't expect the government to fall. Don't expect us to fall out, as has been widely speculated. So that is a message of unity, both within the ranks of the party, upwards to the high command, saying that we are in a rivalry mode, not in a war mode. Okay, that is some first message. I suspect tomorrow's meeting would be about actually getting the nitty-gritty out on what next in terms of either portfolio related issues of which project they will clear. Because one of the interesting things you have to understand, Frida, is that it's not just about the chief minister's chair. If, for instance, Shivakumar can extract more without becoming the chief minister, by in terms of portfolios or specific projects, he might like to keep his followers happy. He might keep the high command happy. Please understand, in terms of funding also, Congress is in a very weak wicket now all over India. And DK Shivakumar has got a reputation as a money bags and a fundraiser, and the party is not going to ignore that facet of Shivakumar. And for all we know, there might be some details that's not going to be publicized. Everything is not meant for media consumption. What is meant for media consumption is a message of solidarity and unity. What is meant for BJP consumption is that, look, we are not so weak as to for you to poach our MLAs, because if somebody does, then the MLAs do it at their own risk. Okay, and next elections are far away, so nobody would want to rock the boat right now, like splitting the party or anything. So it's the next thing would be like, you may not get in a chessboard terms, you may not get a bishop, but you might get 2-3 pawns, and you might get some critical people employed in certain places, or certain projects cleared faster than they were before. Anything can be discussed. And also the question of how you go to the high command. Right now, please understand that the high command itself has become an amorphous entity. There was a time, there was a strong person from the Nehru Gandhi family, and who deputed a general secretary, who was a proxy for the whispers that one heard from Ten Janpath. And you would come out with, it's a very interesting iterative process. It's been Congress style right from Mahatma Gandhi's times. People don't understand how Congress functions. Congress functions on the principle of a quasi-democratic consensus, which basically means that everybody is heard out, aspirations are measured, and there may not be an official secret ballot, but opinions are gathered, after which that opinions do not become so supreme that the high command has no place, because otherwise high command will lose its power. So they understand this in a very mystical sort of a way. They come out with a consensus candidate who's neither here nor there, so that the high command has its own loyalty based points, brownie points from whoever comes to power. And the flock is also heard. This is like the HR department
But who
conducting
comes to your
a
mind? Who is that consensus candidate that comes to your mind? There were talks about Mr.
No,
Kharge,
I don't.
but
Satish Jarkholi has been mentioned, but I think he's very
hmm,
important because he is a Dalit. And right now, given the community discussions, equations that we have discussed, Congress
hmm,
keeps an eye on minorities and Dalits. Obviously, minorities are not going to be so honored as to be given a chief minister's job. But if you look at
hmm,
what happened in Bihar, Mukesh Sahni
yeah,
was promised deputy chief ministership, although they didn't win the elections. But
yeah,
that was a big message to the Nishad community
yeah,
in the equations. So the Dalit community in
yeah,
Karnataka is extremely important for Congress because BJP has its own troubles within
hmm,
because the Lingayats are not easy to do business with,
yeah,
and so therefore Congress would want to have that extra edge based on the Dalits, and also probably project him as a, well, they'll talk about chief ministership and probably will give him deputy chief ministership. This is how it works, really. It's a bargaining sort of a
yeah,
situation. So
right.
my own guess would be that all these details will be discussed, and
Hmm,
Shivakumar is wise enough to give up the chief ministerial aspirations if
hmm,
he is given responsibilities and his followers are kept happy. This is my gut
yeah.
feeling, which
Hmm,
means
hmm.
that they will
I'll,
say
I'll hold
the
you to, yeah. No,
yeah.
no,
This
that's
is
a very
my
important point you're making, that there must be maturity on the part of DK Shivkumar, which is more likely at this point of time, given that he holds the High Command holds a lot of leverage with him, or he holds a lot of leverage with the High Command, whichever way you put it. Uh, he's easier to manage for the leadership, shall we put it that way? But let's listen into what Rajiv Chandrasekhar said. I'm told that Byte is working
yeah.
now. I hope. I hope it works. If it doesn't work, then we give up on this one, huh? Okay, it's not working. So tell me, yes, yes, go ahead. Hmm.
So, if you look at what happened in Rajasthan, one of the interesting things happening in Congress right now is that it's
Hmm.
beginning to resemble, I'm sorry to say this, but it's beginning to
Mm-hmm.
resemble the Mughal Empire in its latter days, where you
Hmm.
had small people rebelling. Even Akbar faced it in his times. But there
Yeah.
are many. So, when Ashok Gehlot was offered the presidentship of the party, he
Hmm.
organized an MLA's virtual revolt, and therefore he
Hmm.
kept there. So on the one, loyalty is displayed, but power is
Hmm.
also displayed, so that
Hmm.
nobody can steamroll the leader based on high command principle. But if I may use that casual reference, it's like you be good to me, baby, and I'll be good to you. Will be kind
Hmm.
of the message to high command. So this high command is respected in lip service and optics, but power
Yeah.
equations are shown because. So there is going to be now the big question, Frida, on which not many people are concentrating, is that who
Mhm.
is the high command? Is Mr.
Is
Kharge,
it?
who's
Is
the
it? Huh? No,
because
no.
Mr.
I thought
Kharge
you were
is
going to say, is
officially
it Rahul Gandhi or Sonia Gandhi? I didn't even think of Mr. Kharge. But then,
The
okay.
needle, yeah, well,
Yeah.
that is a good question. I'm deliberately mentioning Mr. Kharge just to show that he is not. He's himself
Hmm.
no
Okay.
in no better position than he's himself from Karnataka. Although a
Hmm.
Dalit leader, he's not a big enough heavyweight to actually call the shots. He's here as a figurehead of a person who's managing.
Yes.
He has a certain consensus building style and a experience and stature as a long time MP and a Dalit leader, but he's not a man who would call the shots. So the question is, who
Hmm.
will call the shots? And if you look at, if there is Rahul Gandhi's politics is any indication, he's focused too much on evangelizing the ideology of the party and fighting big battles on everything from SIR, special intensive revision of roles, to vote chori, to Bharat Judo Yatra, to of late air pollution. That
Hmm.
he's not an organizer person. So my own feeling is that Sonia Gandhi will eventually depute someone, the typical Venugopal types, who will
Hmm.
handle it or or Surjewala, or whoever. I'm even losing track of some of these deputies now, but they will only carry the message from Tenjanpat. And Sonia Gandhi is quite capable of doing it, because I have this, it's a very personal opinion, but I have this feeling that Sonia Gandhi learned a lot of politics at the dining table from none less than
Yeah.
Mrs. Indira
You know,
Gandhi.
I'll end
Therefore,
with one point,
she
and which
might
I,
just call the
yeah,
shots,
yeah, yeah.
and she
So I'll
might
end
just
with one.
come out with a formula.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
No, no,
therefore
I'll
we
end
will
with
see
just
that
one point
thing.
which I draw from this conversation is that, and I was listening to you intently, what I understand is that the leadership, and you said it so correctly, who is the high command and who holds that final sway, we don't know for sure. But what we do know is there is a vulnerability with the top leadership in the Congress party. When your chips are down, then you don't hold that much command authority over your leaders, and knowing very well
Exactly. I like the
now,
way you put
because
it.
Karnataka is the only state where they have that sort of a candidate who's holding the state together, they would not like to perhaps upset the apple cart. And Siddaramaiah is crucial for that. So
No, no,
now,
no,
if
no,
you
no, no,
talk
no.
about.
Afrida, let's get nuanced on this. There is no such
Hmm,
thing as upset. They are in a damned if they do, damned if they don't situation. Let's be very clear on
hmm,
that. So
hmm,
what is very clear is that there will be a calibration of spoils of power. By
hmm,
calibration, I mean the chief minister may not change, but the
hmm,
portfolios may change, the ministry may change, the budget may be
hmm,
carved out in a way in which the High Command and Shivkumar have a higher say. Please
hmm.
understand, this is about governance and power. It's not just about two people saying, the Congress, and
So
especially
it was
these two
precisely
men
that
are.
calibration, isn't it? That thought of the 2.5 years. And that sort of calibration also doesn't always work where you
Yeah,
decide
but
to,
recalibrate.
divide the
No,
spoils of power. And how many different ideas of recalibration will you now come up with? Especially when your own position, you're on loose ground nationally after all the electoral losses. The one leader, like you so rightly said, that holds sway over a state and has been able to keep a state together. Let's not jeopardize. This should be ideally a mature position that I would
And
have
now this
expected.
open
Let's
squabble.
listen. And finally, I have this open squabble part is what I wanted you to comment on. A quick last comment from you after
Now
we
this
hear this
open
out.
squabble between a known felon DK Shivkumar and a known appeasement politician Siddaramaiah is telling the people of Karnataka and indeed the people of Kerala and the people of country that if you ever give a mandate to Kerala, if you ever give a mandate to the Congress party, their priority is never about the people nor solving people's problem. It is always about who will get power. So this is the politics of the Congress. Constantly fight for power, not because they want an opportunity to serve people, but because they want to loot, they want to exploit, and they want to amass wealth.
So I want you to conclude with this: is BJP is right
yeah,
there waiting in the wings to swoop in, and one should
that's
be very
that's
aware
precisely
of the threats
this.
around, isn't it? For the Congress leadership,
Yeah,
this is important.
that's precisely why there are two breakfast meetings. The first one was the
Hmm,
preemptive message, so that what Rajiv
hmm,
Chandrasekhar said today has become somewhat irrelevant, because they've already shown unity, saying it's not a squabble, it's only disagreement, and in the cabinet system, these things do happen. Tomorrow's
hmm,
meeting would be more in terms of addressing some of the governance issues and power sharing.
hmm.
So we should be looking out for specific decisions by the Karnataka government on everything from ministerial allocation to budgetary priorities, so that down the line messages go out both within the party and to the people that they are actually working this together. And disagreement, Congress is a, let's be very clear on that. Even if you look at the Shashi Tharoor episode, Congress is
Hmm,
very clear. Dissent is our culture. So they are not
hmm,
trying to be. BJP is a unitarist model in everything from one nation, one election to one leader. Congress is, look,
hmm.
this is not India. And Congress reflects India. We celebrate diversity and disagreements. Therefore, there we are. So, how the people take it is up to the people and what the
Yeah.
government really does. The real question is the government frozen or not? That is for the people to decide. And
Yeah.
not, I won't listen to the BJP on this, because they are doing
Okay.
what an opposition party will do. We'll have
Is
to go
expected.
and listen to the people.
Right. Thank you so much, Madhavanji. Great to talk to you. Great to get your insights and your perspectives as always. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Done. All right.